Hey everyone, LOS back at it with one of our favorite, most anticipated for us videos, what we've been working on for a really long time. It's this draft's sleeper. So the draft is in 2 days. It's like a holiday for us.
Exactly, seriously.
We love the draft.
Been working on it for so long, and so some of these sleepers, they're not all going to be like day 3 sleepers. Some of them are just guys that we really, really like and have liked for a while. And they're just guys that we think are maybe a little bit slept on.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that these are going to be 6th, 7th rounders, and we're not saying they're going to be 1st and 2nd rounders. So just pay attention. There's going to be a lot of guys that I actually think maybe you guys haven't heard of, and you should hear about them. So, Tyler, why don't you get us started?
I got it first?
Yeah, start first.
So, one of my favorite quarterbacks I've been looking at for a while, out of Hawaii, Cole McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
Set records at Hawaii, was the fastest quarterback in this draft.
Nice.
And he just has also great arms. So I think that if he can be pretty deadly. He'll be late. He'll be very late because no one's really looking at him.
Yeah.
But he's been really solid. His process has been really solid, and I just love the way he plays. Very
That's a
smart.
good one. Yeah, I've heard a little bit of chatter about him, but I'm going to follow that up with a quarterback of my own, Anthony Gordon, out of Washington State. Now, some stats about Anthony Gordon is he had 28-plus completions in every single game. He had 35-plus attempts in every single game. And he had 250-plus yards in every single game. Against Oregon State, he went 50 of 80. 50 of 80. 606 yards and 6 touchdowns. His lowest completion percentage in a single game was 61.2%, which is amazing.
Considering how much he's thrown.
Yeah, and he threw for 48 touchdowns, 5,579 yards. And really his volume is crazy. Now, with that, he has 16 interceptions, which is, a little bit concerning. And here come all the Jordan Love fans. Hey, Jordan Love had 17 interceptions. Why aren't you talking about that? Well, if we look at Anthony Gordon and we put attempts per interception, that equates to 43.06, which means he's going to throw a pick 43.06, or every 43.06 attempts. In an NFL game, you're throwing, 20 to 35 passes a game, so that's not really going to equate to an interception every play.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, attempt per interception is 27.8. Significantly lower.
That's a pick every game. Basically.
That's a pick every game, pretty close. So, Jordan Love fans, don't get mad at me because I like Anthony Gordon, who had 16 picks, the 48 touchdowns, the amazing passing volume, and the tremendous production outweighs it all.
All right, moving on to one of my favorite guys that no one knows who he is. Another Western Michigan guy, running back, Levante Bellamy.
Wow.
I watched some highlights on him, some
deep sleeper.
Some stats for him are 23 touchdowns on the year, which was more than Taylor and Dobbins. You got 1,400 yards rushing and 5.5 as an average, and only fumbled the ball once. And he can catch it out of the backfield. He's very fast, very athletic. He reminds me. Who did I have? I'm not sure who I had for his pro comparison.
Yeah.
But it was a great player. I'd have to go back and look. Maybe Jamal Charles a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's special. His breakaway speed, maybe a little bit of Kareem Hunt, like a lesser speedier Kareem Hunt, just the way they break tackles and play.
Hopefully better character.
Yep.
Wow. Well, that is probably a deep sleeper. One thing about this running back class is I think it's sneaky good.
Deep.
I think that there's obviously you've got kind of the big 3 of Swift, Dobbins, and Taylor. And then maybe if you want to include Edwards-Helaire, but I think he's just kind of a little bit below. He reminds me of like Darren Sproles. He's big, 100%. He can run people over. But then you've got a lot of depth, like the Cam Akers, the Zach Moss, the Joshua Kelly. I think this is a good running back class. I don't think it's anywhere close to the 2017 class,
but it's deep.
Good.
It'll be good.
Now, when we're talking about deep classes, we're talking about this wide receiver class, which is who I've got next. Michael Pittman, who was a Blitnikoff Award nominee. He had 101 receptions on the season for 1,275 yards and 11 touchdowns. Hear this out. 10 out of 13 games, he had 6+ receptions. And then 4 out of those 13, he had double-digit receptions. Versus Utah, who has multiple DBs going into the draft. He had 10 receptions for 232 yards and a touchdown. All right? I think Michael Pittman, one thing that I have a little bit of a knock on is his ability to gain separation with speed. I mean, he's kind of bigger, he's strong, he's able to gain separation with his just kind of physicality. But if he can get a little quicker, which comes with coaching and just maturity within the league, I think Michael Pittman can be a very, very good receiver. Some mock drafts, I've seen him land late round 1. Some I've seen him go 4th round. So that's why he's a sleeper, in my opinion, because, not everybody is super high on him. Some people actually dislike him. But in my opinion, Tyler, I'm sure you know this because we talk about the draft all the time. Michael Pittman is someone I've been talking about since January. So
Yeah, he's been really great.
that's my wide receiver.
Okay, so I got 2 wide receivers next, and
All right.
we'll interchange what we do.
Mhm.
And just so you guys know, we'll do our biggest diamond in the rough at the end.
Yes, so stay tuned for the diamond in the rough at the end because these are good guys.
With the wide receiver that I have, one of the ones I've been talking about since the end of the year, no one's been looking at, and it's almost to my top 5 is Tyler Johnson, wide receiver out of Minnesota.
You've talked about this guy forever. I'm tired of hearing his name.
You got to go and look up the Auburn game. He gets separation so easily. Just some stats for you guys. He's been playing for 4 years. He's been a solid player. He had 2 1,000-yard seasons.
That can't be understated.
13 touchdowns, 86 catches. So I think he set a record in Minnesota. I think he has the record for most catches or most yards. And he's just really solid. I wanted to see his pro day. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think that he would impress even further. So I love Tyler Johnson. Great hands, great separation, and he's just solid. He doesn't have a trait where it's weak, but he doesn't have a trait where it's totally the strongest. So he's just a solid player.
He's complete.
Very complete.
Yeah, that's a good one. So for me, staying on the offense, tight end out of Florida Atlantic, Harrison Bryant. Some measurables, he's 6'5", 243 pounds. Just perfectly sized for a modern tight end. He runs a 4.73, which some people who don't really pay attention to the draft, they look at Henry Ruggs and see a 4.27 and think a 4.73 is bad. 4.73 is very good for a tight end. It's exactly what you need. He can jump out of the gym for a tight end with a 32.5-inch vertical and a 110-inch broad. He had 1,000 yards this season, 7 touchdowns on 65 receptions. And, there's some concerns with him playing at Florida Atlantic, being in that smaller division with his production. But I think Harrison Bryant can go maybe 3rd, 4th round and be a good guy.
Second tight end option, maybe?
Yeah, seriously. I'd like to see him start out, not as a starter. I don't want to see him rushed in. I want to see him develop, get some experience under his belt, get some good NFL-style coaching. But I think Harrison Bryant can be a superstar in this league for sure.
Of course. All right, another one of my favorites. Oh, this is good. You're going to love this. Antonio Gandy Golden from Liberty.
All right.
6'4". Literally, Devontae Adams so much. The way he runs routes. He doesn't have amazing routes, but his deep routes are fast, and he has great cuts. His ability to make guys miss is really great. He had 2 1,000-yard seasons. Just a dog. He loves the ball. He loves the ball in his hands, and he can go up and get jump balls. Almost Julio-like. It's close. It'll be really interesting to see how he does against better talent. He had a great Senior Bowl as well.
Out of Liberty, huh? Wow.
Yes.
All right.
It's reaching.
Well, I'm going to flip over to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to get 6'3", 247-pound linebacker out of Ohio State, Malik Harrison. He ran a 4.66, which is really, really good for a linebacker. 36-inch vert and a 122-inch broad. For some stats, I think he had a little bit better of a year in 2018, but this year he had 75 total tackles. The year before he had 81. And one of the things I really like about Malik Harrison is his ability to make tackles and just kind of get them down quick. If you look at his stats, you'll notice he has a lot more solo tackles than he does assisted, which is, it's not a huge deal, but it kind of shows that he's able to finish off his own tackles. He's able to get them down quick. He's not one of those guys that's going to hang on the shoestring while, his opponents come and clean up. He's a guy that can stick his nose right into a gap and meet a running back and hit him hard. I love his explosiveness. Against Clemson, he had 6 tackles, which can't be understated against that good of a team. It's a very, very good stat line. Malik Harrison, I think he's projected to go 2 to 4 within that second round to 4th round range. And I think whatever team gets Malik Harrison is going to get a really good modern style linebacker.
All right, moving to defense for me as well. I'm going to go D-end, John Greenard out of Florida.
All right.
4.87 40. And that's, I think, the fastest I have for D-ends out of there. I don't know if he plays edge. I think he's more of an edge player. And I think he has a ability to cover the running back too, which is really impressive. Had more tackles than Chase Young this year, 50. 9.5 sacks, which was tied with the kid from Penn State, Yetur Gross-Matos.
Yep.
And so he just has the stats. He has the speed. I love the speed out of him. And is strong enough. So I think that he can be really good off the edge for a team.
Sure.
Works his way up.
I've watched a little bit of him when I was watching C.J. Henderson. And I just kind of noticed that there was always one player that seemed closer to the quarterback than all the other D-line.
Exactly.
And then finally I just kind of, all right, T.J. Henderson, I'll take a break from you. And I kind of looked at that D-line, and that's exactly who it was. So that's a real good sleeper. Next for me, Tyler and I actually had to flip a coin for this one because we both like him so much.
Love him.
Cameron Dantzler, cornerback out of Mississippi State. He's 6'2", tremendous size. He's only 188 pounds, which I would like to see him beef up a little bit. But he ran not a very good 40 at the combine. I never hope that somebody's hurt, but I hope something was wrong with him that day because he had a 4.38 40 at his pro day and leapt 34.5 inches on his vertical. So he's crazy athletic, fast, and 6'2", awesome length. He had 40 total tackles this season, even got a half a sack, forced a fumble and recover one, and had 4 interceptions over the last 2 years. I think he needs, like I said, just to beef up a little bit to play with those more physical guys. I don't think at 188 pounds he's going to be able to hang with Michael Thomas and Julio Jones and guys like that. But I kind of see him as a little bit of a slimmer Rock Ya-Sin, who was a second-round pick from Indianapolis last season. I think they both are comfortable playing the run, and I think they both kind of got a good attitude. That's something that's really important with a corner, because as a corner, you're not going to deflect every pass. I mean, you're going to get scored on. There's going to be completions. There's going to be first downs. You're going to get burnt. So I think he keeps a good attitude when stuff like that happens, when adversity hits. So that's something why I really like Cameron Dantzler.
And he was the best corner against LSU this whole year.
That's true.
Did not let up a touchdown.
If you want to make an argument for a bad corner, like AJ Terrell, I'm not saying they're bad corners, but if you want to turn on highlight of like just bad corner play, you turn on AJ Terrell versus LSU.
Anyone
you turn on
against
Trevon Diggs versus LSU. I mean, Cameron Dantzler shut down, and he didn't shut him down, obviously.
He only got targeted a few times.
I mean, he played amazing. Well, and if it wasn't for Jamar Chase playing, like, defense against Cameron Dantzler, he would have picked off Joe Burrow. An excellent stack formation against
it was
arguably
great.
The best receiver in the country, Jamar Chase. So, Cameron Dantzler can line up, obviously, against some of the best among college football.
I don't know. I just love Dantzler so much.
Me too.
So, moving on, I didn't get Dantzler. So I went with the linebacker, and I got this great special team player that can turn into a great linebacker. He might be undersized, but it's Kiante Davis Gaither from Appalachian State. He can fly. Like, he is so speedy. He might be undersized, but he fights, and he's a great tackler. He's able to get off blocks. He could be such a great special teamer to start his career.
For sure.
And then he gets going, working his way up, learning, because his ability to cover needs a little bit of work. And so as soon as he gets that, I think he can be a great corner. Because you can't control your size, but you can control how hard you work. And he definitely works hard.
And that's what sleepers are. Sleepers are not guys like Isaiah Simmons who are perfected and studs. Obviously, all these guys need a little bit of work to get to, really good levels in the pro leagues. But they have awesome potential. And that's just kind of the type of people that we're talking about. Is that all you have to say about him?
Yes.
All right. So moving on from me, I have Bradley Anae, D-end out of Utah. If you watch his Senior Bowl tape, this is when I recognized Bradley Anae, I saw this guy get 2 sacks, and I was like, hold on, who is this guy? Because he barely got touched, and I think a lot of it was against, what's his name, Terrence Steele at left tackle. But still, he still played extremely well. And Bradley Anae just, like, when you watch the Senior Bowl, you're not necessarily watching for people that do bad, but rather people that stand out. And Bradley Anae stood out at 6'3", 257 pounds. Obviously he's got good size. He benched 25 reps at the combine, which those Polynesian guys, I don't know if he's Polynesian. I think he's from Hawaii. So he's kind of got some Polynesian background. The all-time bench press leader was Polynesian. They're just like extremely athletic. He jumped 31 inches on his vert and 115 on his broad. So he's strong and he's extremely athletic. He had 13 sacks last season. Chase Young had 16 and a half, to put that in perspective. He's had 28 sacks over the last 3 years, including this season, and 6 forced fumbles. His 6 forced fumbles, he had 3, then 2, then 1 in those 2017, 18, 19 seasons. So I'd like to see that progress because as DN, your job isn't only to sack the quarterback, but it's to get the ball back. So I'd like to see him force a couple more fumbles. 28 sacks to 6 forced fumbles isn't terrible, but I'd like to see him work on that. But as we said, these aren't perfect prospects, but Bradley Anae, I think, is somebody that can really, if drafted to the right team, under the right system, and with the good coaching staff, I think he can become a star in this league.
All right, so I just switched mine.
All right.
I had J.R. Reed from Georgia, the safety, and I couldn't do it because I'd only watched one game. Mm-hmm. He had a great interception against Notre Dame and that Cole Kmet tight end. Yep. He was amazing against Cole, but he only had one interception on the year, so I decided to go with the corner from Utah, 2018, and I think 19, first team Pac-12 corner. He's just locked down over there. Right. He did a great job on Laviska. Him and Laviska was such a great matchup to watch because they just went at each other, and it was beautiful.
What did he run at the 40? Wasn't that the guy that was crazy fast?
I believe so.
I think it was like a 4.29 or maybe something in that.
You might be thinking of the other Utah.
Oh, I might be actually.
Because there's like 4 Utah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Utah DBs.
It's surprising, and also shout out to Justin Herbert for torching this Utah secondary. So he ran a 4.5.
Okay.
So not bad. 15 bench press reps, and he can jump pretty high. But I just think his ability to cover is amazing. He's physical.
Yeah.
He can be left on islands, and I like that. I just like the way he played and stuff. So Jalen Johnson, cornerback from Utah.
All right. So to conclude my sleepers before my diamond in the rough, we've got Elijah Halliburton. If you have not heard of him, go watch our interview with him because now some of you guys in the comments are gonna be like, "Oh, you only said it because he came on your podcast." Well, there's a reason we reached out to him. Like, we wouldn't have asked him to be on our podcast if we thought he was straight garbage. I mean, obviously he's a stud. Had 130 total tackles, which led all safeties. 2 sacks and 2 picks last season. Ran a 4.56, which is a good 40 time for a safety. Had a 123-inch broad and a 38.5-inch vert. He's 6'2", which is a good weight. And he is 190 pounds, which is, not a bad weight, but it's fair. He could beef up a little bit, put on 10 pounds. But Elijah Halliburton is a good player. Right now, I think he's probably projected to go late day 3, maybe even undrafted. But I think he could really turn into a good special teams player for sure. You put him at, you put him at gunner on punt. You can put him on kickoff for sure. He'll make plays. Really, I think he can play every special teams unit and play it well, and that's what's going to get him on the field. And eventually, I'd like to see him maybe year 3 or 4 start playing some real safety and playing it real well. So Elijah Halliburton concludes my list of sleepers.
Okay, now we're on the big one, the biggest diamond in the rough of the 2020 NFL draft for both of us.
Who you got?
We're both going running back. Yours is kind of a wide receiver running back.
Yeah.
But my running back, A.J. Dillon, Boston College.
I almost put him on here, but I knew that you liked him, so.
I love it. I just love the way it runs. He's just so hard-nosed, north and south. His jump cuts are amazing. He had 14 touchdowns this year for 1,685 yards.
That wasn't 6.
So,
wow, yeah.
And he's been doing this for multiple years. Just the way he runs is so physical and so just graceful. And he's actually surprisingly fast. Ran a 4.53, so not bad. But his game speed's even faster.
Yeah.
His ability to gain speed is amazing. I just loved watching him. It's so hard to tackle him. Like he runs low. He did a great job against Clemson too, and he doesn't have a bad game anywhere, and so he's actually able to catch the ball out of the backfield, which is pretty amazing. Just his strength though. He actually had a 41-inch vertical, which is the most among running backs. And at 23, he benched
23 reps.
Yep, for 23 reps. So that was another thing that I really liked about him.
Yeah.
And he just has all the physical tools, and I think that there's a lot of good fits out there for him. So I'm very excited to see what he can do because I think he'd be just a very great runner.
Absolutely. So, for my final diamond in the rough, I have wide receiver / running back Antonio Gibson out of Memphis. Now, NFL.com told me he's 6 foot, but ESPN told me he's 6'2", so we'll just call him 6'1". 228 pounds, which is a solid weight. Ran a 4.39, extremely fast. Now get this, 16 reps with a 4.39. That is extremely strong, and if you guys don't know the reps, are at 225 pounds. I mean, some of you guys go try to bench 225 pounds. You probably won't get it. Now do it 16 times while running a 4.39. Ridiculous. 35-inch vertical and a 118-inch broad. I include these jumping measurements because they just give you a better example of kind of flexibility, because obviously you have to be flexible to be able to jump like that, and just overall athleticism. Now, versus SMU, who was ranked at the time, he had 3 rushes for 97 yards and a touchdown. 32.3 yards per carry. I don't think you guys understand 32.3 yards per carry. Now let's compare this to my opinion, the best running back in the draft, J.K. Dobbins, 6.7 yards per carry. Oh, well, DeAndre Swift is the best. Okay, DeAndre Swift had 6.2. No, actually, I'm going to change my mind to Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor had 6.3 yards per carry. And now some of you calculus guys are probably, yelling at me like, that's sample size biasness. And absolutely it is. But that's one of the knocks on him, is he only has 1 year of production. To continue in this stat line versus SMU, after the 3 rushes for 97 yards and a touchdown, he had 6 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown, 21.7 yards per catch. If we look at his season stats, where did I put these? Here we go. He had 11.2 yards per carry on the season.
Wow.
Now, again, if you want to compare
First
those
down every rush.
Yeah, exactly. You want to compare that to Dobbins at 6.7, Swift at 6.2, and Taylor at 6.3. Granted, he only had 33 rushes on the season, but now let's compare this to, or let's talk about his receiving numbers. He had 38 receptions, in which he averaged 19.3 yards per reception. Let's compare that to Biletnikoff Award winner Jerry Jeudy's 2018 season, which he had 9.3 yards per reception. So he's just so explosive and fast and quick.
So what position is he going to play in the NFL?
I think he probably is going to start out at wide receiver.
But can you just move Curtis Samuel move everywhere?
Yeah, I think he can take on kind of a Ty Montgomery type role, where he can play out of the backfield, but he'll also return kicks. Because I'd love to see him return kicks and punts. Maybe even like a Nyheim Hines role, something along that, where he can return kicks, he can play out of the slot, and he can play running back. I think this is a player that a team like either the Bengals or the Dolphins should draft, somebody that just needs talent. That's just really all it is they just need talent.
When they get the ball, they do something with it.
Exactly. They need speed or talent, which would be terrifying is if somebody like the Chiefs pick him up. That would be a nightmare for every other team in the NFL. So Antonio Gibson is my diamond in the rough. His numbers just are phenomenal. He's so explosive, so fast when he gets the ball in his hands. So that is why I like Antonio Gibson so much.
All right, just for some honorable mentions, we'll go through this quick. Steven Sullivan, tight end from LSU.
Talked about
He didn't get much reps or looks at LSU because of the talent there. If he would have gone anywhere else, he would have been getting tons of looks. But we saw him at the Combine, and he looked more like a wide receiver, so I see him as a wide receiving tight end kind of guy that can come up the seam and make plays and stuff. He's just fast, and he just glides. And he had a great Senior Bowl week.
That's right.
From what I heard, and I think that he'd be a great steal at the end.
For sure. One of my honorable mentions, I'll just list off my 2 right now.
Okay.
I've got Sadiq Charles, offensive tackle out of LSU. He's a guy that is not pro
Raw?
ready right now, but he's got raw talent. He's big, he's strong, and I think he just needs a little bit of coaching, a little bit of experience. I'd love to see him get a lot of preseason reps just to kind of develop. And I think he could really be a good offensive tackle if a team gives him a chance.
Great natty. Beautiful natty. That's where me and Jake both noticed him was the natty.
I actually texted you during the game. I was like, hold on, you got to watch number 77, that left tackle.
And he's the only one on the LSU line. And that LSU line was good, but he's the only one that I thought that had a chance with Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, there was many times they picked up Isaiah Simmons beautifully.
It was amazing. I didn't think he could.
Yeah, so I'll just hop into my second honorable mention. I got Joshua Kelly, running back out of UC.
Or Simpson.
What was that? Oh, well.
Okay, we can go.
I'll take Joshua Kelly, running back out of UCLA. One knock I have on him is when you watch his highlights, a lot of his first contact comes at the second or third level. It's kind of the same analysis they had of Derrick Henry coming out of college, where we just don't know how well he's going to fare with contact against, that first level. But once he gets into space, he almost reminds me of like a faster like Garrett Blount.
Okay.
Like, he can put a stiff arm on, he can put a juke, but he's not afraid to just lower his shoulder and run somebody over. I think Joshua Kelly, if you watch his tape versus USC, it's undeniably good. He's got kind of the same thing as a lot of these honorable mentions. It's just a lot of raw talent. And I think he can really be a good rotational player. I'd love to see him start out his career getting, 3-4 carries a game just to see how that can work. I'd love to see him play a lot of the preseason. And I think Joshua Kelly is somebody who can maybe blossom into a good guy in the future.
Okay, I'll go. And just like I was talking about earlier, I switched J.R. Reed, the safety from Georgia, with Jalen Johnson. And I still think that J.R. Reed should be mentioned because he will be going late, but he was the best player on that Georgia team. And if you're the best player on a defense from the SEC that did a great job, you should be recognized. And he did a great job of commanding that defense and helping them win games. He very athletic. He can cover the field very well. If you watch his only INT against Notre Dame, it was amazing the way he got his feet in, and that was beautiful. And he just flies, and mm-hmm. he's all over the field. So I think he has a chance. We'll see what happens with him. Some measurements for him, really quick, is he's 6'1", 202, 54 tackles. So I want to see more tackling. But other than that, he could be a great guy coming up, maybe a nickel safety.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll conclude this with one last honorable mention. John Simpson, guard out of Clemson. I don't think he was great, but I don't think he was great and amazing, but he was solid all year round. If you watch tape on him, any Clemson game, he's solid. He's not just laying people out, pancaking him like he's Quentin Nelson, but he does his job every play, and he does it exceptionally well. And I think he could probably go in that same 2nd to 5th range within that round. I think he's probably going to go maybe 4th or 5th round, early day 3. But I think a team that maybe doesn't need a guard right away so he can develop a little bit, maybe needs a team with
the Cowboys.
Yeah, with an older offensive guard or maybe a pending free agent at your guard and you want to sign him or draft him so that he'll be ready next year. But I think John Simpson will be a good guard here in a couple years if he can just not necessarily need to start right away.
Okay, so just wrapping this up. This will be our last video before the draft. Yep. We will have a video right after, hopefully every day of the draft, if we're able to. Yep. Just the biggest points.
So when day 1 rolls around, Tua falls, I will be bringing that up. If he does not fall, I will probably still bring it up. But
you'll take it like a man?
I will. I'll take it like a man.
It's all right. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. There's some not honorable mentions, but sleepers that you need to know about.
Watch for. If your team drafts any of these, what do we go
over?
Happy. Like 16 guys? I don't know. If your team drafts any of these guys, get a little bit excited because these are good players
that can turn into high risk, high reward kind of guys.
Exactly. So thank you guys for tuning in. Come back Thursday for our draft update and come back Friday and Saturday for our draft updates. Those days. So stay safe, you guys.